The evening news. I am Babatunde Fanowopo. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has signed the amended bilateral air service agreement between Nigeria and the United Arab Emirates. This was made known through a statement signed by the minister's media aide, Tunde Moshood. According to the statement, the amendment was signed during a meeting with UAE's Minister of Economy, Abdullah bin Tauk Al-Mari, at the sideline of the International Civil Aviation Organization's Global Implementation Support Symposium 2025, solidifying mutual aviation ties between both nations. Moshood stated that the signing of the amended BASA builds on last year's negotiations to ensure reciprocal rights for both countries and foster deeper aviation collaboration. He added that during the signing of the agreement, Keyamo emphasized the importance of enhancing connectivity between Nigeria and the UAE with a focus on expanding code-share agreement and interlining opportunities for Nigerian airlines. He further said that the UAE's Minister of Economy hailed Nigeria's aviation minister, describing him as a man who keeps his words and committed to advancing Nigeria-UAE aviation relations. Beyond the BASA agreement, Moshood said Keyamo advocated for a review of UAE's visa restrictions on Nigerians, stressing that easing the current conditions would increase passenger traffic on designated routes befitting both nations' economies. In the meantime, in a decisive move to curb vote buying and ensure secure elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission and Nigeria security agencies have reaffirmed their commitment to electoral integrity ahead of key polls in 2025 and 2026. At the first regular meeting of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security for the year in Abuja, INEC Chairman Professor Moshood Yakubu warned that vote buying remains a serious threat to free and fair elections in Nigeria. Yakubu noted that while arrests have been made in previous elections, the fight against electoral corruption must intensify, especially with party primaries approaching. He highlighted that vote buying is not limited to election day, but extends to party primaries, where delegates are influenced with money to manipulate the nomination process. With primaries for the Anambra State Governorship election set for next month and the Federal Capital Territory Area Council elections following in June, he urged security agencies to take proactive measures. Yakubu explained that a lot of work needs to be done, especially in combating vote buying, expressing the Commission's joy in collaborating with law enforcement agencies, particularly the anti-graft agencies. According to him, beyond the arrest of vote buyers on election day, the partnership has so far resulted in the successful prosecution of some offenders in 3 states of the Federation. Still on elections, the chairman of the Osun State Independent Electoral Commission, Mr. Hashim Abioye, has dismissed as untrue a report in circulation that the Court of Appeal sitting in Akure, Ondo State, has ordered the reinstatement of local government officials elected in 2022 election in the state, urging the public to discountenance what he termed as fake news. Mr. Abioye made the clarification in an address at the Commission's headquarters today, stating that the appellate court did not make any consequential order rein the decision that struck out the suit filed by the People's Democratic Party has been speculated in some quarters. He noted that the February 22, 2025 local government election scheduled by the Commission will go ahead, calling on Osun people to be prepared. According to him, the reasoning of the appellate court was that the suit was filed before the notice of election was issued by the Osun State Independent Electoral Commission, noting that it was during the pendency of the said suit before the Federal High Court sitting in Osogbo that the Osun State Independent Electoral Commission Law 2022 was enacted and the notice of election was issued. Mr. Abioye, however, explained that there exists a valid judgment of the court that invalidated the 2022 council poll, calling on the public not to be dissuaded by the antics of certain elements who are out to frustrate the conduct of the upcoming election. He maintained that the 30 local government areas in Osun State remain vacant till date, as there is a substituting decision of the Federal High Court and the Court of Appeal against the All Progressives Congress and its purported candidates. On education, exceptionally gifted children who are below 16 years will be allowed to take the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination conducted by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board (JAMB). JAMB Registrar Professor Ishaq Oloyede stated that the board would identify the few gifted students and allow them to take the university entrance examination. According to the registrar, such candidates must score at least 80% in UTME, the West Africa Examination Council, post-UTME, or the General Certificate Examination ordinary level. Professor Oloyede announced this at a meeting with critical stakeholders comprising chief external examiners, chief technical advisors, and equal opportunity group among other stakeholders. In a bulletin issued in Abuja by the board's public communication advisor, Dr. Fabian Benjamin, the registrar insisted that JAMB will enforce the minimum entry age requirement into tertiary institutions, adding that with a proviso that exceptional candidates may enjoy waivers even if they are below 16 years, provided they score the 80% in the 4 examinations stated in the bulletin. Solid education coupled with good behavioral disposition go a long way in attaining success in any chosen field. The Deputy Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of Health Sciences, Ila-Orogun, Osun State, Professor Monsuru Adeleke, stated these are the orientation program organized for the newly admitted students into the institution. Professor Adeleke, while introducing himself to the students, further said that the orientation was to expose each of them to the codes of conduct of the university for guidance in their pursuit of knowledge within the school's environment, but whoever else will be sanctioned according to the laws of the school. There were other speakers such as Dr. Emi Balogun of the Department of Physiology, who spoke on the acceptable and unacceptable behaviors and dressing of the students as included in the school's regulations. Also, Mr. Moniya Amusa of the Bursary Department enlightened the students on application for loan from the Federal Government Students Loan Portal for easy access for the payment of school fees due to financial constraints. Vice President Kashim Shettima has assured intending pilgrims for this year's Hajj in Saudi Arabia that none of them will miss the pilgrimage due to visa-related challenges. This is the outcome of a meeting the Vice President had with NACON management and board in his office at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. Shettima had summoned the meeting following reports that contractual dispute with Saudi's service provider could potentially lead to visa denials for Nigerian pilgrims. The VP assured them that the federal government will put necessary measures in place to ensure they have a smooth and hitch-free pilgrimage. He directed the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria to take necessary measures to ensure a smooth and unhindered pilgrimage for all the nation's intending pilgrims. He also instructed the NACON leadership to take necessary steps to protect the interest of Nigerian pilgrims, saying the Commission must do whatever it takes to guarantee the full participation of the pilgrims without any hindrance. Osun State government has disbanded the Osun State Transport Management System and rebranded it into the National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW. In his remarks while officially disbanding the OSTMS, the Osun State Governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke, who was represented by the Commissioner for Transportation, Honorable Session Oyedele, stated that the rebranding was done in the interest of the union, adding that the government remains committed to ensuring that no sector is left behind in its developmental strides. The governor reiterated this resolve of his administration towards the provision of an enabling environment for the transportation business to thrive through massive investment in road infrastructure in all the nooks and crannies of the state. He called for more cooperation and support from members of the newly rebranded NURTW in the state. In his remarks, President of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURT, Alhaji Musiliu Akinsoya, popularly known as MC Oluomo, expressed appreciation to Governor Ademola Adeleke for his immense support for the union. He appealed to the new leaders and members of the NURTW not to bite the finger that is feeding them and to work in unity to ensure that the governor stays in power beyond the year 2026. And on to sport, Remo Stars coach Daniel Ogumodede has charged his players not to take their feet off the gas in their quest to win the club's first Nigeria Premier Football League title, despite holding an 8-point gap at the top of the table currently. Ogumodede's side maintained their lead in the MPFL last Saturday, beating former champions Kano Pillars 2-1, moving up to 48 points at the top, with Southwest rivals 3SC behind them in second place. Their 2-1 win over Pillars was however not perfect, as the visitors dominated the game to the dismay of Ogumodede. Ogumodede said it was not a very good day for his side, but to be champions, some days will be like hell, and the most important thing is having the spirit to conquer. He admitted that his side didn't play to their best, but have the maximum point, which is what is important to their aspiration. Having agonizingly missed out of the title in the last 2 seasons, the Gaffer has been outspoken about their desire to win the league this time. In one of his halftime talks shared by the club during their spirited 3-2 win over Abia Warriors, Ogumodede charges players not to get carried away. And on the foreign scene, Asian markets struggled as traders keep a nervous eye on Donald Trump's next moves after he signed off on tariffs for steel and aluminium imports and warned of more measures to come. All 3 main indexes started the week on the front foot thanks to a rally in tech firms, but Asia struggled to maintain its momentum, with Hong Kong, Shanghai, Singapore, Mumbai, Jakarta, and Manila falling. Seoul, Wellington, Bangkok, and Taipei rose, while Sydney was flat. The president has lived up to his campaign pledges to resume his hardball trade diplomacy to extract concessions on a range of issues, including commerce, immigration, and drug trafficking. While the moves have jolted sentiment, equities have held up since Trump took office. London and Frankfurt even hit record highs, with analysts saying measures have so far been less severe than feared. However, caution looms over trading floors as dealers brace for the next announcement out of the White House, with Maurice Obstfeld, a senior fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics, saying the degree of uncertainty about trade policy has seriously exploded. And with our report from the foreign scene, we've come to the end of the evening news on Osbc TV. Join us at 7 for the major reports. Good evening.